Welcome back into the College Football Every Game on the Board podcast with our closer up next, Kelly Stewart at Kelly in Vegas on Twitter, wagertalk.com. Kelly, welcome in. How you feeling?
Hey, Drew. Busy Thursday per usual. We got the Kelly and Murray show up. We got Bet on It up. I just texted the guys over the Superbook my parlay, so that will be up here in a little bit. I got to shoot that video. And of course, we have the hustle tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. So, and I've got a show with Pam Maldonado, stack of stats in between. So we got a busy afternoon. I'm excited to run through the rest of this card with you.
Absolutely, guys. We're going to hit, about 8 or 9 games here to finish off the Saturday slate. And like Kelly said, stay tuned for the hustle on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. It's Chris Thurston, Adam Trigger, myself, and Kelly getting you ready for this weekend of games as it is full force now, guys. Football is here, week 1 of the NFL. You'll get our analysis, I guess we could say, on Thursday night, and plus any college football as well. But we're going 379-380. That's the rotation numbers, guys. If you're new to every game on the board, college football, it's those little numbers next to the team name. If you go to the Wager Talk live odds screen, we hit every single game on the card. So we're 379-380, Memphis, Arkansas State, down to the end of the card, Auburn and California. So we got Memphis, Arkansas State here, Kelly, 58.5 being the total. Memphis laying 3 touchdowns, minus 21 as the road favorite.
Yeah, pretty sure I remember K-State doing something similar in 2020 and then losing outright to this Arkansas State team. Little PTSD for me there. Don't mind me. I don't know what to make of this Memphis team, right? When you play teams like Bethune-Cookman the first week and you just blow them out, you don't necessarily see a whole lot, right? And especially when these games aren't on TV. You know, for example, K-State played Southeast Missouri last week, right? And it was on Plus, and so I got to catch it after the fact. And I thought, man, what are we doing? Showing some of this offense off. So I kind of have to wonder what the Tigers were doing there. Was that final score actually conducive to what the game played out like? But they have been absolutely terrible in the non-conference, particularly in week 2, 1-7 against the spread. And we know that Arkansas State has been great at home, 15-3 against the spread. I'm going to just say pass because I have not dug enough into either one of these teams. But just make sure you do your homework here. This might be a few too many points.
Kelly, next game up, this is an interesting handicap. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific here. We get UCF at Boise State. We are seeing the Knights minus 3.5. It opened 2.5. So over the key number of 3 here by a full point. 60 being the total. Tough trip here. This isn't far from where you're talking right now. UCF going all the way out to Idaho. I don't know. Do we trust Malzahn and the Knights?
God, Gus Malzahn just took no prisoners against Kent State. He just ran it up. He might have an SEC job again here sooner than later. John Rice Plumlee looked really good. I'll give him that much. I caught some glimpses of this one, highlights. I mean, God, they just put up so much offense, almost 750 yards, just absolutely, utterly ridiculous. You've got Boise State here where it's always a tough place to play. Kind of have to wonder with new offensive coordinator Bush Hadman, what this offense is going to be able to do. While I wasn't impressed with them last week, I would not be surprised to see them get the outright win here at home. Remember, week 2, Drew, what I love about is that we're always playing to these overreactions. So just because a team did really well week 1, blew a team out of the water, or we were super impressed by them, week 2, I kind of feel like sometimes the bookmakers build that into the line.
Yeah, it's always tough week 2 coming back at it. But I don't know. I sometimes I think buying into this, if a team looked really good, like the Colorado-Nebraska game, which we'll probably talk on the hustle. What do you do with
How can
Colorado?
we not talk about it? We can talk about it right now. I am not betting Nebraska. I know lots of sharp people that took Nebraska plus 3.5, and even there was a 5 at Circa for a very brief period of time. Had it gotten to 6, I might have been able to get in with Nebraska. But listen, Colorado is proving that the transfer portal is the new way to build a football team and to get guys to buy into your system with coaches like Deion Sanders. I think it's going to be a good game. I do. Sure. I think it'll be a good game. I think defensively, Nebraska is going to be obviously significantly better than TCU, where Colorado and TCU just shared scores the entire game. But to just run up and bet Nebraska as a straight fade of Colorado, what we saw last, might be just a little excessive.
Kelly, you're probably the most plugged into, I guess, the betting landscape. What about like sharp bettors? Like, I don't know if you saw like the week 1 college football, the line moves were like terrible. If you were on the sharp side, I think you were like 17 and 28.
I think Brad Powers tweeted he was like 8 and 12 against the spread with line moves of 3 or more. And then if he had no CLV or negative CLV, they went basically the opposite. It was like something like 36.8% every game that had at least 2 points of CLV. I would have to look at the tweet again. I saw it on Sunday and I was like, I mean, God, our good friend Adam Trigger, who we're going to do the hustle with, I think he had 4 games of at least 3+ points of CLV. And I think he went 0-4 in all of them. Actually, I think there was 4 of them. Joe Ranieri on the bet on it had at least 2 games with like Colorado State. I think he gave out Colorado State like plus 12.5, closed 9. They got walloped. I mean, it's been gross. And I do think that the markets get sharper throughout the season. So let's not buy into that too much. But oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Tough week for the sharp guys.
Yeah, and I think it speaks to just in the beginning of the season, particularly in college sports, football and basketball, nobody knows anything. Like, so actually, BP and I were talking about it on the quick hustle, whatever. What are we calling it? The hustle shorts. Yeah, hustle shorts, about betting into uncertainty. I think there's something to that. To week 1 college football, nobody really knows anything. So
Drew, I would say the same thing about the NFL, right? Like right now, we're only given the information at hand. And I always argue, let's get the best of the number. But sometimes it's better to get the best of the information.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And that's the mix. And that's where handicapping comes in, guys, is hey, one of the marquee matchups of the weekend, maybe the most, Texas and Alabama, 383-384. We're making our way down here, 7:00 Eastern, prime time here, Kelly. 54 being the total. Alabama Crimson Tide laying a full touchdown pretty much across the board in Tuscaloosa. Oh, Kelly, I lost you. I don't know. Are you mute? Oh, no. I don't know. Maybe if you log out and log back in, or maybe it's on my end. But, guys, this one, as we get Kelly back, I feel like, I don't know, Alabama -7. That might be worth the look. I feel like Texas question marks with their quarterback. Is he really that good, Quinn Ewers?
Sorry, Alabama.
Yeah, gotcha. Gotcha.
Okay, so get this. So I didn't have a USB-C charger. I threw my iPad on there this morning. My mic died that I've been using all day. I forgot to plug it back in. It's been one of those days.
Hey.
But yeah, I'm with you here. As far as this game goes, VR told me that they played, Texas plus 7.5. I thought, I don't know. I'm not a big Quinn Ewers fan. I kind of always thought he was going to be the starter. A lot of people thought it was going to be Arch. Alabama, not that impressive last week. Texas, not that impressive last week, if we're being honest. I did end up taking Rice plus 36 from the Saturday Last Call show with Brian Leonard. He said, hey, I think this one's gotten a little too out of control. I took it. I got cussed out in another group chat with Steve Thurston and Brett. Said, no, what idiot told us to take Rice? I'm like, I did. And then, of course, they backdoored. I will be on Rice this week, by the way. We'll get into that on the hustle. But I think this is a really tough game, right? Alabama said, hey, we're going to shove you guys up in the upper deck, including your band. We're going to give you the same respect you showed us in Austin. I know quite a few fans are going to be at this game. I tried to make this game a reality. Didn't work out scheduling-wise, unfortunately. Also, Tuscaloosa, not an easy place to get to. You got to fly into like Birmingham or drive. Bama 7-0 straight up, 5-2 against the spread off a home game. Texas just 1-5 against the spread in their last 6 non-conference road games. If I got to give a nod, I'll give a nod to Bama -7 here, but I don't really have a big opinion.
Guys, we were brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer. Check them out, vivatequilaseltzer.com. Got the watermelon flavor here. Drinkable hard seltzer, 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, 4.5% ABV. Viva, the perfect drink for your pre or post-game celebrations. It was created with the active lifestyle in mind. vivatequilaseltzer.com. We got 385, 386, the rotation up next. Temple and Rutgers. We're seeing the Scarlet Knights -8 in the hook at home, -9 at some shops here, Kelly. 44 being the total.
Yeah, if I can still get 9 with Temple, I'm going to take it. Adam Trigger and I had an hour-long phone conversation this morning. I have just had a hell of a time making a decision on a third dog. It was between Cincinnati, San Diego State, Rice, and Temple. And he tried to talk me into Temple. Look, I was on Northwestern on Sunday, and it wasn't because I wanted to be on Northwestern. Obviously, Pat Fitzgerald being gone, Rutgers just mopped the floor with this team, right? Looked a little too good against a Northwestern team that looked like they didn't care. So I want to make a case for Temple here. I really do. I just don't think they can win the game outright. If you can get a 9 with the Owls, I think it's the right side.
Kelly, did Vandy plus 10 interest you at all in that dog parlay or no?
So I will say this. That was on VR's list with Vandy, and I really, really considered them. I couldn't get it done. I couldn't even take them plus the 10. I believe they bet them plus 11, plus 10.5, but I don't have that notebook in front of me. It's at my other desk. I finally gotten to the point of football season where I have 2 desks because I can't sit here all day. So I had moved to the kitchen. I have a kitchen table desk with my laptop, and then I have here. I don't know. I just get too stir crazy, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta get a different view, keep the
there's
body guessing.
There's way better light in there too. It feels better than sitting in a dark office with fake, box lights all day.
Yeah, and that number moved. I think it opened 12 and it moved right to 10 right away.
I want to say that those guys betted at 12 is what I remember yesterday from the Bet On It show. And I did try to look at it. Vanderbilt's just not a team that's built to win games outright, right? Like, obviously, they couldn't even get the cover against Hawaii. This is not a good football program. And I'm not saying Rice is by any means. And I'm not saying Temple is by any means. But when I'm looking at teams that I think have a chance to win outright, at least last year, Rice was in a dogfight with Houston, right? Yeah, they ended up losing in the fourth quarter. But those are the types of things I'm looking for. Like, can this team win the game outright, right? Like, if I don't have to sweat a cover like last week, right? Toledo, I never once had to sweat the cover. Unfortunately, didn't get the money line. But basically, with the other two, I didn't have to sweat the cover either. North Texas got blown out. South Alabama got blown out. Those are the types of games I want. To blow out, switch the channel on to the next game. But those where it's like you're praying for a backdoor cover, you're begging for the sports book god to like throw you a bone. Like, it's just so insufferable. I just don't want to live my life that way.
Fair enough. I follow her on Twitter at Kelly in Vegas. Check out the parlay. You bet them both plus the points and on the money line, right?
Yeah, so I bet them all 3 by themselves against the spread, do a little money line sprinkle on each, and then the cherry on top is the parlay.
The money line parlay too, is we got Charlotte and Maryland up next, 7:30 Eastern kick in this one. 51.5 being the total, minus 24.5. That is the Terps in College Park, Kelly.
Yeah, another one of those games. It's like, okay, what did we see from Tua's little brother? Of course, they beat the crap out of Towson, but did they? Sure. Yeah, he had 3 touchdown passes. There's not really much to say here about this Maryland squad, right? Were they going to take a step forward this year in the Big Ten? I don't know. I was never really that high on them. Maybe Loxley didn't want to run up the score against Charlotte, his former alma mater. I'm not sure how this game played out, and unfortunately, I don't have anything to report. These are not 2 schools that I really pay a lot of attention to, if we're being honest, Drew, so I'm going to pass.
For sure, Kelly. We got Southern Miss and Florida State up next. We're seeing the Seminoles, minus 31-point home favorites, 53 being the total, coming off that LSU win. I saw it in person, Kelly.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, Drew Martin Betts sending us text from behind the goalpost with the Celsiuses that Trig was so happy about. Couple questions I have, Drew. How fraudulent was that final score, would you say?
I mean, I don't know that it was too fraudulent. I think it kind of played. I don't think
it was actually conducive of how the game was played. I think the fourth quarter really got away from LSU. It was 17-all, right? They were in a dogfight. It was a really competitive game. Florida State scored. LSU, another goal line turnover, just a frustrating turn of events. Mike Norvell should have taken knees. Yes, I had the under, but he still should have taken knees.
Okay.
And instead, he punched it in as a big FU to Brian Kelly. That was a hate move, and you know it. And that's fine. That's the type of football he wants to play. I mean, they scored 31 unanswered points, 45-24. It was not exactly how that should have went. Yeah, Jordan Travis looked really good. You kind of have to wonder how much they care about this game. I can tell you this, VR told me that their group played Southern Miss plus the points and a little bit of an overreaction, maybe a flat spot for the Noles. But that's all I got. That'd be the only way I could look at it here. This team is not going to get excited about playing Southern Miss after that type of performance against a team like LSU. I think this could be a flat spot for the Noles. But hey, they looked really good. I joked that they should already be in the college football playoff. Obviously, I was being a little facetious. Noles fans thought I was dead serious, so they were happy with me for once in a while. That being said, Southern Miss or pass for me.
Yeah, you bring up Florida State. I mean, the group I was with, it was all Florida State fans, Kelly. I mean, they're not only are they talking playoff, like it's pretty much like, I think we're going to lose to Georgia in the national championship. Like that's what they were kind of going with. They're like, we're all the way to the national. I thought it was hilarious.
And that's what it is for some of these types of teams, Drew. Yeah. It is like national championship or bust. And I don't live in that world, so I don't understand it. But hey, like I said, after Clemson lost on Monday night, just put them in the college football playoff already.
Yeah, really. Definitely in the club or leading in the ACC. Guys, we got 2 games left here, 2 good ones. Both late night slate, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, 391, 392, Stanford and USC. I say good ones. I don't know how good this one will be. Minus 29. That's the Trojans.
For late night, late night action. Yeah.
It's okay.
30 and a half is what you said it still is on the Wager Talk odds screen.
Anywhere from 29 to 30. So
I guess here's kind of my thought process. And you're going to have to look at it like this, right? So we know exactly who the Trojans are, right? It is offense. They have the Heisman Trophy, basically like the front runner right now in Caleb Williams. You've got Stanford, who it's Stanford, right? Like this is like the joke was before they got picked up to go to the ACC, which is so strange to me, that they were going to be conferenceless, that they should just get rid of their football program. I mean, there was all sorts of crazy things being had here. And normally I'd love to take the points here and say, okay, this is a ton of chalk because we know what we get from the Trojans. They are terrible as double-digit chalk in conference, and it is a great place to fade them. But the Tree have not covered 8 conference road games, 0-8 against the spread. I can't back this team. I wish that I could. Mark Zeno and I talked about it on the call yesterday with him and Trigg when we go over some of our college games early in the week. I said, Zeno, you're drunk. Go home. I'm not touching this. I'm not laying it. I'm not taking it.
Kelly, last one that I'm really interested in here, 393, 394 to finish off the Every Game on the Board podcast. We actually will bring in, guys, Robbie Vino for part number 3 coming up next. But 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, Auburn Tigers, -6, -6.5, depending where we're shopping, 54.5 being the total. It's Auburn at California. Never seen Auburn really play on the West Coast. I remember they played USC when I was, I think, in high school. And then now we're going out to Berkeley to play Cal. How do we even handicap this?
So in my defense, when I played North Texas to win this game, I had handicapped this game with Sam Jackson the 5th. I might have to say that Finley is a better quarterback. The Bears may have found their starter. We're going to find out in this game. I actually considered looking at Cal here as a home dog. You're right, because this is not a traditional type of game that Auburn subjects themselves to, right? They don't usually go to a place like Cal. But no. I considered it. I really did. But then I thought maybe Cal looked a little too good in that road win over North Texas. Guess what, Drew? Bad news. Mark Lawrence, 0-6 against the spread in their last 6 road games outside of the SEC. 1-5 straight up in road openers.
That's Auburn?
Good. That's Auburn. That's not good. So I really looked at Cal hard, but I had to trust my week 1 handicap and say, all right, maybe I was a little bit wrong because I, lost ultimately the quarterback that I thought would be playing the game. But I think Finley might be their guy for Cal. I definitely think he looked better than Jackson. I mean, yeah, Jackson threw a touchdown pass, but at that point in time, the game was basically tied. Cal could be a live home dog here, and I may end up regretting leaving them off my card. But for you, I'll cheer for Auburn.
Well, thanks for that. I mean, when I handicapped this, Kelly, first off, when I first saw it, I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck is this? This misprint, Auburn heading out there. And like I said, I think they played USC in like 2002 in the Coliseum, and then they played in the national championship in 2013. Right. But that doesn't really count. Like for this, traveling to Cal, they just played a game on Saturday. It is a difficult handicap going all the way, pretty much almost all the way across the country.
Handicap, and it's a team that's not used to not playing, at home. And that's kind of what we're starting to see. The college landscape is changing, right? Mm-hmm. Auburn, not the powerhouse they once were. So sometimes they have to play teams in a home and home scenario where they might not have traditionally done so. And I don't know, Drew. Hugh Freeze, love him. Do you hate him? How'd you feel about the game versus UMass?
I mean, I thought they looked good. And
considering UMass beat New Mexico State the week before and looked decent.
UMass looked better against New Mexico State, and then Auburn dominated UMass. So now I'm kind of thinking, wait a minute here. And I've heard a couple of people say late night on the West Coast. First of all, throw that out the window with college kids. That doesn't matter. No. So
if I can stay up till 4 a.m. in Vegas, living on the East Coast now, these kids will be just fine.
Right. So going after it, I'm like, man, maybe Auburn, the Jimmies and the Joes, the athletes might have the advantage here and just kind of roll them over. But that might just be the fan in me. I'm excited to watch it late night, though. I'm a huge fan of the Degenerate Special.
Always, listen, I think the big thing is if you guys can stop Jaden Ott on the ground, which North Texas was not able to do whatsoever. I mean, he just ran all over that defense. Then you guys should ultimately win this game. I think it looks kind of like a coin flip. You might be paying a little premium for the SEC team here. So ultimately I ended up staying off of it, but good luck, War Eagle.
Absolutely. War Eagle, guys. That will be a fun one to end it on Saturday night. At Kelly in Vegas on Twitter. Kelly Stewart. Check her out, wagertalk.com. Remember, we are brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer. VivaTequilaSeltzer.com. We flavored our tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with a kick, just as we like to live our lives. Kelly, throw it back to you. Do you have a most confident play on the slate you want to throw out there for the listeners, and anything else? Final thoughts before we shut it down?
Yeah, my best bet's going to be Texas Tech. We just talked about a big overreaction here. I've had this one circled since July, and this could be one of those, Kelly, you should admit what you saw in Laramie. But what I saw in Laramie was a 17-0 lead. I took the 14 with Wyoming, and never once did I consider putting them in my parlay because I didn't think they were going to win that game. Lubbock, Texas, primetime, Drew. I have been there. That place is going to be absolutely rocking. You got the Ducks 0-3 in their last 3 trips on the road in the Big 12. Listen, it's going to be like a Colorado TCU type of game. I don't expect to see any defense. Hopefully, Texas Tech is the team that scores last, and we can cash that money line.
Sure, and we can give you +6.5, I guess, for record-keeping purposes.
Yeah, the market's pretty much headed to 6, so I'm already locked and loaded at 6.5. That 7 was there for a very brief period of time, -115, and I missed it, but I do think this team gets the outright win at home.
I like it. And plus that Texas Tech, there was that delay in Laramie, one of the more difficult places
the weather
to play
delay. When you have to consider the elevation of the stadium. I mean, it is really tough. Ralph Michaels TNA this week on Bet On It College Football Edition did not do me any favors after what happens when guys play in high elevation. So let's just hope that doesn't apply this week.
Kelly, great stuff as always, guys. That does it for the end of the card. We will have Robbie Vino for part 3, and make sure to check out the Hustle Wager Talk YouTube channel coming up 7 o'clock Eastern. Thanks for tuning in. Smash that like button.